Welcome. Let us discuss about the management of layers and broilers. Layer management. Introduction to layers. Layers are birds reared for the purpose of egg production. They are reared as per different growth stages in different sheds. That is, chicks in brooder house 0 to 8 weeks, growers in grower house 9 to 22 weeks, and layers in layer house 23 to 72 weeks. They lay eggs for a period of 2 years. Afterwards, the egg production decreases. They grow at a slower rate. Example of layers include Isa Brown, Babylona Tetro, Babylona Harco, Babcock BV380, Gold Line, Harvard Brown. Management practices. Disinfecting the layer house. Remove the cobwebs and dust the walls. Remove the litters. Scrubbing of the floor is important for the removal of fecal materials. Wash the room with forced water, including wire nets, windows, and floors. Disinfect the floor. Use germicide or insecticide. Whitewashing and fumigating the farmhouse. We use formaldehyde 900 ml and potassium permanganate 450 gram. Disinfecting all the equipments. Dubbing. Dubbing is the removal of the comb and wattles from chickens. It may be done to either males or females. Usually, dubbing is done when chicks are a day old using manicure scissors. At this age, very little bleeding or discomfort is noted. The reason for dubbing is that it allows birds with large combs to eat and drink more easily from some types of feeders and waterers. Debeaking. Debeaking is the removing of a portion of the upper beak and often a lesser portion of the lower beak of the fowl. It is the most effective way to control cannibalism. It is done with an electrically heated blade. Chicks debeaked at 6 to 10 days of age will usually not need further attention for about 1 year. Observe the flock closely and re-debeak when there is a growth. Remember that debeaked birds can no longer pick the last particles of the feed from the trough. Therefore, maintain at least 3 by 8 inches of feed and water at all times for debeaked birds. Broodiness. It is rarely seen in hens in cages. Some broodiness may be observed in flow-managed flocks. Broodiness should be removed as soon as observed on the nest and placed in a wire-floored broody coop. Feed a complete ration. They should be ready to return to the laying pen in 5 to 7 days. Optimum temperature for brooders is 32 degrees Celsius. The instrument used for brooding is called brooder. The chick guard is like a fence for brooder chicks. It can accommodate 200 to 250 chicks. Lighting. Light should be provided so as to make for about a 16-hour working day for the hens. They need increasing daylight. Lights may also be used to help bring slow maturing pullets into lay. Exhaust fans can be used for getting fresh air and good ventilation. The flooring space of layer birds is 2 square feet per bird. Nesting. Layers are reared in deep litter system or cage system. In deep litter system, the layer house should be provided with waterer, feeder, dropping spit, and laying nest. Periodical stirring of litters. Discard the contaminated water and feeds and fill it with fresh water and feeds. Make frequent trips into the house. Pick up the floor eggs and place them in the nest. Pretty soon, the pullets will get the idea of laying the eggs in the nest. The birds need a dark place to lay eggs. Avoid placing the nest box directly to the sunlight. Culling. It is the removal of unhealthy birds, early and slow molters, and those with excessive fat deposits in the abdomen. These birds are called spent chicken layers. They are used in products such as stews, barbecue chicken, boned chicken, and spaghetti sauce with chicken, etc. Also observe the mortality in the birds. To check if there are enemies like snake, crow, cat, poison attack, sudden illness in chicks by feeling lazy, tired, eyes become yellowish. Egg eating. Egg eating is through the factors favoring egg breakage, insufficient nest, insufficient nesting material, not collecting eggs frequently, and thin or soft shelled eggs. Once this habit has started, it is very difficult to stop. If one bird acquires this habit, it usually spreads quickly throughout the flock. Prevention for this is debeaking, and the nest should be darkened and eggs to be collected frequently. A large percentage of top quality eggs can be produced by adopting the following practices. Selecting a strain of birds noted for its ability to lay eggs of high quality. Feeding well balanced rations, vitamins, minerals, and calcium. Calcium is provided for stronger eggshells. Oyster shell is rich in calcium. This is called grit shell feeding. Avoid overfeeding of eggshells. As it decreases the egg laying capacity. Low vitamin A levels may increase the incidence of blood spots. Keeping the flock diseases free. The finest quality eggs are laid by pullets. Older hens lay eggs lacking in acceptable eggshell quality and albumin firmness. Keep males out of the laying flock to produce infertile market eggs. Handling table eggs. Eggs should be gathered 3 to 4 times daily. Late morning, afternoon, and evening. Clean soiled eggs. Use clean water for washing eggs and maintain the water temperature between 110 and 120 degree Fahrenheit. Coat the eggshell with a thin, odorless, colorless, and tasteless mineral oil to prevent the egg's carbon dioxide from escaping into the surrounding atmosphere. Cooling eggs immediately after gathering removes the animal heat. The egg cooler should be large enough. An egg cooler operating at 55 degree Fahrenheit or lower with a relative humidity of 75 to 80% is considered adequate. Candle eggs. Candling is the most practical way to determine interior quality of the eggs and cull out eggs with blood spots. The shell should be free from cracks and of good texture. Separate eggs into weight classes. The eggs should be packed with small ends down. It is important that cartons and cases to be kept clean. This prevents the possibility of mold formation. Eggs should be moved to the market as quality as possible, at least twice a week. It is essential to keep all the eggs cool en route to the market. After eggs are delivered to jobbers or retailers, maintenance of quality is their responsibility. Refrigeration is a must for displaying of eggs. Production goals for commercial egg producer. Production of 270 eggs per hen per year. An average of 20 eggs per bird per month. 70% or more extra large and large grade A eggs. 95% or more marketable eggs. On-farm egg breakage under 25%. Mortality of about 1% per month for layers is normal. Broiler management. Introduction to broilers. Broilers are birds reared for the purpose of meat production. They are also called as table birds. They are reared for only 2 months, that is 8 weeks. In 2 months, they attain 2 kg weight approximately. They grow at a faster rate. Example of broilers include Hubbard, Cobb, Caribro, Varna, Vencob, Krishibro, and High Cobb. Management practices. Disinfect the poultry house before housing the birds and keep the equipments clean. To avoid transport mortality, the brooders to old hens are kept in the same house. The flooring space of broiler is 1 square feet per bird. Get healthy and quality chicks from reliable sources. Optimum temperature for brooder is 32 degrees Celsius and for grown broiler is 28 to 30 degrees Celsius. 40-volt bulb is enough for giving light to 100 birds. Debeak chicks whenever necessary. Keep litter clean, dry and free from mold. Supply adequate heat and ventilation. Remove diseased birds from flock. Feeding. Pre-starter ration. First 2 weeks. More protein, less carbs, less antibiotics for disease resistance. Starter ration. Up to 5 weeks. Medium amount of protein and carbs. Ratio of proteins should be less compared to carbs. Finisher ration. 6 to 8 weeks. Low protein and high carbs. Storage of feeds. Broilers need more amount of food. Fresh feeds should have to be fed for the broilers. Manufacturing date should be within 14 days. We should finish the stuff within 14 days. Get the feed from the reputed manufacturer. Feeds when bought should not have moisture content. That is, appearance of lumps indicates the fungal formation. Period. Name of the feed. Feed required in kg for 100 broilers. 0 to 2 weeks. 1 to 14 days. Broiler starter. 31 kg. 2 to 4 weeks. 15 to 28th day. Broiler starter. 9 to 5 kg. 4 to 6 weeks. 29 to 42nd day. Broiler starter. 146 kg. 6 to 8 weeks. 42nd to 56th day. Broiler finisher. 174 kg. Total 446 kg of feed is required to provide feed for 100 birds. Feed conversion ratio. FCR is equal to total kg of feed utilized per batch divided by total kg of live weight produced by the batch of bird. Amount of feed utilized to produce 1 kg of body weight of the bird. If FCR is high, there is a loss. If FCR is low, there is a higher profit. For example, 446 kg consumed by 100 birds divided by 2 to 3 kg weight obtained by birds. Therefore, FCR is equal to 2. If FCR is 2, very efficient. If FCR is 2.1, very efficient. If FCR is 2.2, efficient. If FCR is 2.3, average. If FCR is 2.4, inefficient. If FCR is 2.5, very inefficient. Growth rate will not be uniform. There will be fluctuations. Later on, it will pick up. During summer season, the intake of food will be reduced. So, more amount of food should be given as it consumes more amount of water. In case of cold temperature, it will eat more, so the energy will be converted into fat. The weight will never increase. Straight run flock is a random distribution of broilers having 50% male and 50% female birds. Male broiler will consume more food than females. conversion of feed into meat is more in male birds. Male birds will give more profit. Males grow faster than females and weigh more at a given age. Males are about 1% heavier than females at hatching time. Marketing broilers. Broilers are marketed when they are between 6 and 8 weeks of age. Marketing involves moving the birds from the poultry house to the processing plant, discontinuing the grid feeding at least 2 weeks prior to marketing, letting the feeders become empty for about 2 hours, and the water should be removed just before the birds are caught. Too early removal of water will result in excess dehydration. Catching and loading the birds properly by using an experienced crew, working under a dim blue light at night, grasping them with no more than 4 or 5 birds being carried at a time, placing them in the poultry crates gently. Poultry crate is a box-like structure made of plastic or wire mesh, having a wide opening mouth. Overcrowding should be avoided during the crating, as it leads to suffocation to birds. Driving the loaded truck carefully from the farms to the processing plant. Processing. Removing the birds from the crates gently at the processing plant. The processing of broilers is an assembly line operation conducted under sanitary conditions. Birds are inspected twice: live, ante-mortem, and after slaughter, post-mortem. Each bird is shackled to a conveying chain. Birds are generally unconscious by an electric shock, and the blood is lost by the cut of the jugular vein. After bleeding, the birds are conveyed through a hot water tank operated at about 140 degrees Fahrenheit for about 1 minute. Birds are then conveyed through a rougher which removes the feathers. The carcass and exposed viscera are inspected by health inspector. The kidneys, lungs, head and feet are removed and the carcass is signed. The carcass then passes through a cooling tank containing ice water. Then it is being graded, sorted by weight and prepared for delivery to consumer markets. Production goals. Broiler producers should aim for birds weighing 4.5 lb at 6 weeks of age, a feed conversion ratio of 1.85 and mortality under 1%. Fast foods. Kentucky Fried Chicken (KFC), the fast food chain which Colonel Harlan Sanders of Kentucky began as a franchise operation in 1956. It had a significant impact on the marketing of broilers. In 1989, 28.6% of the total broiler production was sold through fast food services outlets and carry-out restaurants. Layers tend to develop the disease compared to broilers because they are reared for longer periods. Broilers are reared for few weeks and they are sold out, which shows they could not stay long to be exposed to some diseases. If you ever run at a loss, it will be less in broilers than in layers because you can start all over again in broilers, whereas in layers, it can take a whole year to recover from the loss. You can start earning within few weeks for broilers, but you must wait for about 5 months for layers to start laying eggs.